Good day, everyone. I'm Alana Gagap, and today we will be discussing the topic about crime under social problems and issues. When we hear the word crime, we think of a bad person or like bloody experiences. In this topic, we will understand much more about causes, effects, and prevent crime in rural and urban. The key topics are the meaning of crime, crime in urban and rural setting, crime in urban areas, causes of urban crimes, crime in rural areas, causes of rural crimes, and how to prevent crime. Crime in general is an act that warrants public condemnation and punishment, usually in the form of a fine or jail. It is a concept which is generally described as something unlawful, hostile, or illegal, punishable by law. Humans have seen violence, atrocities, violations, and any other acts that brings harm to others since the beginning of time. It almost became a common occurrence to man. In an effort to stop these acts, human created laws and sanctions for such misdeeds. Also, in sociological study of deviance, of which crime is a special type, deviance is behavior that violates social norms and arouses strong social disapproval. This definition reflects the common sociological view that deviance is not a quality of a behavior itself but rather the result of what other people think about the behavior. The next reporter will continue to discuss crime in urban and rural areas setting.
Good day everyone, I'm Novijoy Igot and today I will be discussing the topic about crime in urban and rural setting. Although national crime statistics are used for determining overall crime patterns, they do not distinguish between geographic areas. The unequal distribution of crime has ramifications for policymakers when it comes to responding to crime, helping victims, and allocating resources to the criminal justice system. In general, statistics demonstrate that crime rates in metropolitan or urban areas differ from those in smaller cities, communities outside urban centers, and non-metropolitan or rural locations as does the criminal justice response. According to the police, the incidence of serious crime escalated to the early 1980s from approximately 250 crimes per 100,000 population in 1979 to a sustained level of around 310 during 1984 through 1987, then declined in 1988 and 1989. In 1988, the crime rate dipped below 300 crimes per 100,000 people, then fell dramatically in 1989 to 251 crimes per 100,000 citizens. Because of differing reporting practices and degrees of coverage, it was difficult to compare Philippine crime rates to those of other countries.
Good day everyone, I'm Melissa Marila Riba and I'm going to report about the crimes in urban areas. Urbanity is defined in the Philippines as a combination of size, density, and the existence of specific institutions associated with an urban lifestyle. Some common traits of urban populations have been shown by demographic research. A cultural diversity with corresponding disparities in views and behaviors. We all know what it means. Due to the population in the city, especially due to migration, there will always be cultures that do not coincide with each other. Second, distinctions among members in the group with interpersonal relationships limited to specific demands. Basically, most of the people tend to have relationships with others based on the demands that is needed to be fulfilled. And lastly, increasing freedom, obscurity, and impersonality, and people with a wide range of ages, races, ethnicities, norms, and values. Though such characteristics are technically not that harmful, These are seen as predisposing factors that breed urban criminality. Crimes relating to urbanization. Crimes with direct relation to urbanization here in the Philippines includes: first, street crimes, and second is illegal drug trafficking. Almost all acts criminal by law that occur on the streets appear to be included in the phenomena of street crimes. Any criminal offense committed in a public location is referred to as street crime. Street crimes include murder, rape, kidnapping, theft and robbery, prostitution, swindling, which is used deception to deprive someone of money and possessions. According to the Bureau of Justice, street crimes also include property crimes such as arson or the crime of setting fire to a property, trespassing, burglary, which is also called breaking and entering. It's almost the same as trespassing, but with the intent of usually committing of robbery, theft, and even murder. And lastly, vehicle theft or carnapping. The illegal drug trade has become a serious national security danger. Illegal substances have been linked not only to the conduct of violent crimes, but also to the persistence of dangerous organizations in the country today. Illegal drug trafficking give way to the other big-time crimes such as money laundering and kidnapping for ransom. Highly populated areas, the slums, became breeding grounds for illegal drug abuse due to the lack of supervision and security. Mainly used and traded illegal drugs which constitute to the worsening of violent crimes include marijuana and methamphetamine hydrochloride, or commonly known as shabu. And that's all for my report. Causes of urban crimes will be discussed by the next reporter.
Causes of urban crimes. The phenomena of urban crimes can be traced back to a variety of economic, social, political, and even moral or spiritual elements. Some of them includes poverty, family orientation, and self-state. Crimes in urban places occur every day. We cannot excuse it because it really happen every day. The government cannot fully stop it but can minimize its development. And first of all, places in urban cities are larger and more advanced than rural places. The first one is poverty. Poverty, according to many experts in the field of the criminal justice, is a key of contributor to a crime. This isn't to imply that a person who lives in luxury can be a criminal. Even the wealthy commit a numerous crime. Furthermore, many people who have been impoverished have continued to be honorable and excellent citizens. Poverty is clearly not only explanation or cause, but it is a significant element. It is the evidence that the poorer or neighborhoods and places with a higher population density, deteriorating living condition, and a large number of unemployed people have higher crime rates. Violence without the injury is almost 3 times as prevalent in deprived areas as violence with the injury. The inequalities in resources, opportunities, power, and access to a social status, rewards create alienations and frustrations and develop into the pocket or subcultures of violence which lead to the crime. People who live in the intense poverty, especially in the slums, often use the phrase kapit sa patalim, which can literally means holding a knife. It is living in a precarious or dangerous situation, even to the point of doing illegal things for the sake of the money and survival. The second one is family orientation. The family is the fundamental building blocks of a human society. Family orientation gives a big impact to the people values nowadays. As the country grows more industrialized, there is an obvious shortening of the family bonds. The family meets together as a group less and less, with all the members present except during the special events as well. Children who were not given proper guidance tend to be ignorant and often lead a chaotic life. Subsequently, children who were abused or often see the violence, alcohol, and illegal drugs in their homes will become highly influenced by it, and some may think of it as a norm. The third one is a soft state. According to Sanidad Leones C., non-enforcement of the various law and ordinances, widespread bribery and corruption. Government officials, absenteeism, or a lack of essential services all contribute to a lack of discipline and a low regard for the law among citizens, resulting in lawlessness and crime. Basically, it refers to a state where the laws and regulations were not properly implemented. From the petty offenses, offenders gradually commit a larger and more significant violation of the law and ultimately aiding the abetting crime. For the monetary consideration or plain laziness, traffic laws and ordinances are not enforced by a traffic policeman or aides. Consequently, drivers and passengers and pedestrians alike violate traffic rules and regulations, left and right. From minor violations, gradually these offenders commit more and more serious infractions of the law, thereby abiding the crime. Whether planned or unplanned, it is a reality which has to be forced and lived with.
Crime in rural areas. Rural crime has no set definition. However, it can be very broadly classified as any crime and antisocial behavior occurring in rural areas. Antisocial behavior are actions that harm or lack consideration for the well-being of others. It has also been defined as any type of conduct that violates the basic rights of another person and any behavior that is considered to be disruptive to others in society. Rural crime can be divided into four categories. 1. Agricultural or farm crime. It is the stealing of farm products. 2. Equine crime or the horse thief is the crime of stealing horses. 3. Wildlife crime is the illegal hunting or stealing of one's property animal. And 4. Heritage crime, which is ang ilahang mga pamana. Rural crime is often linked to organized crime groups, OCGs, who target and exploit rural communities across a range of crime types. OCGs is a group of people that steals one's property. They are the one that is considered disruptive and the one that violates the law. Common terms sa atoa diri'a is akyat bahay gang, budol-budol gang, and so forth. The next slide is example of rural crimes. Plant thief, which is the one that steals the plants on the farm or any agricultural products. Livestock thief, the one that steals sa mga binuhi nga animals. It's either baka, kabaw, kabayo, anything. Burglaries targeting firearms. So burglary, also called breaking and entering, and sometimes housebreaking, is the act of entering a building or other areas without permission with the intention of committing a criminal offense, like ilagyong gubaon ang isa ka portahan or anything nga kalang pwede nila maagian. That is burglary. Poaching is defined as the illegal hunting or capturing of wild animals, usually associated with land use rights. So, if ever nga na ay isa ka farm nga nag-iya og mga animals, ilahatong i-hunting, and that is a crime. Hare coursing is the one which dogs are unleashed to chase down hares and catch them in their jaws.
I am Jamel Carla P. De Ano, and today I will discuss to you the causes of crimes in rural areas. So we already know that crime is an act that is punishable by law, and that crime doesn't occur to a single cause but is an extremely complex happening. Crimes often happens because of the influence by the culture of the place in which it takes place. There are a lot of causes why crimes happen in rural areas, and one of this is poverty. Poverty is one of the main reasons for crime. Mostly sa mga tao kay wala yung mga secure na trabaho, kay wala na kauman o eskwela, they invest their time in criminal activities like mangawat, mang-scam, mang-hold up, because it is an easy way to get what they want and also do not require any other talents or a degree. Second is drugs. Crime and drug abuse are closely related. A person under the influence of drugs tend to indulge in criminal activities. So because of poverty, wala ka human og eskwela, tapos nabarkada sa mga mali na tao, then nagtry og drugs. So under the influence of drugs, there are possibilities na makakita kag away, you intend to rape someone or even kill someone. And when people get addicted to drugs, they believe that they require it to sustain themselves. Lastly is unequal rights. Deprivation is another significant contributor to the increasing crime rates. People resort to notorious activities when they are deprived of their basic rights, since that impedes their means to obtain a livelihood in a conventional and honest way.
Rural versus urban crime rate. In this graph, simple assault is higher in urban than in rural. Same with serious violent victimization, higher gihapon ng urban than rural areas. And also in this graph, taas ang rate sa sexual assault, robbery, and aggravated assault in urban areas compared to rural. And in this graph also, in theft, household burglary, motor vehicle theft, mas taas ang rate sa urban areas compared to rural areas. It is because mas daghan o population ang urban compared to rural areas, and also mas daghan o incident opportunities in urban areas compared to the rural areas.
Good day, everyone. I'm Marjorie Nino, the last reporter. Now that I have discussed crimes in rural and urban areas and its causes, let's now talk about how to prevent this crime from happening and if it's already happening. Crime prevention. Its objectives specifically aims towards the ways and means of preventing or reducing the desire of human beings to commit crimes. There are several ways to prevent crime from occurring. One is to intervene before an individual has a choice to consider crime as an alternative. For that, let's talk about social crime prevention. This prevention addresses individual and family level factors that might lead to offending. Individual level factors such as attachment to school and involvement in pro-social activities. This decreases the probability of criminal involvement but rely on long-term intervention. According to Smith and Cornish in 2006, other types of intervention focuses on individuals that are already at risk and are in need of targeted intervention. Crimes cannot be properly explained or effectively prevented without a deep understanding of the environments in which they occur. For example, in the slum areas, there are still many juvenile delinquents existing as they are forced and left with no choice to commit such act just to sustain their basic necessities. Next is the situational crime prevention. This prevention aims to affect the motivation of criminals by means of environmental and situational changes, and it is based on three elements. First is increasing the perceived difficulty of crime. Second is increasing the risk. And lastly is reducing the reward. And that concludes our report for today. I hope you learned something from our discussion. Have a good day and keep safe, everyone.